Hello, Algebra 1 students. It is great to see you again. I hope you're doing well with e-learning. By now, Mr. Dahl and I have each tried to contact you, and we hope that if we don't hear from you, that we do hear from you soon, because we are getting started with some new instruction this week. So we are going to be working out of this note packet. You should have this note packet from before you left for the big break. At the top it says interpreting slope, constant rate of change on a coordinate plane. It's a green packet, unit 3, target 1. It's where we started working with slope dude, okay? So that's the packet that we're going to be working out of today. All right, so go ahead and get that out and we will get started. All right, so if you could please turn to the 4th page in your packet where it says target 1C, calculate slope from 2 ordered pairs using a slope formula. We are going to be learning about what the slope formula is and how you can use the slope formula to find the slope given 2 ordered pairs that are already on a line. So where does the slope formula come from? It actually comes from what we were doing before we left for break, which was finding slope from a table. So what we had been doing is we had been finding the difference between these two y values. So if I find the difference, I know from 1 to 4, that goes up by 3. One way that I can consider that, finding the difference, is taking the second value minus the first value to get the change. I can do the same for the values of x's. To get from 9 to 8, I'm going down by 1. Another way to consider that is take the second value, 8, minus its first value, 9, and I get -1. We take 3, we put that over -1, and we get our slope of 3 over -1. So what does that mean for our slope formula? If we are given 2 ordered pairs, we're going to start by labeling those ordered pairs. X1, comma, Y1. So that's your first ordered pair. That's what the 1 means, and next to those letters, X and Y there. And your second ordered pair will be X2, comma, Y2. Okay, so what would your slope formula then be if I'm finding the change in my y's, or my rise, over the change in the x's, which is my run? So rise over run. So my change in my y's is going to be represented by y2 minus y1, and that's going to be all over x2 minus x1. And that's your slope formula. Notice how I wrote m equals in front. That is the variable that we use to represent slope. You might remember that when we were finding slope from a table, but you always want to also have that m equals in front so that we're knowing when we get our slope value what that value represents. It represents the change in the y's over the change in the x's. All right, so let's put this to an example. Okay, so we're going to get started on our first example, number 1, and the directions say to find the slope of the line given 2 points. So like I mentioned, the first thing we're going to want to do is label our ordered pairs. So my first ordered pair has an x and a y, so I'm going to label those x1 and y1. So x and y, and they're from the first ordered pair, so they have a 1. Then my second ordered pair is going to be x2, y2. My second ordered pairs, so the x and y get a 2. Now I'm going to substitute those into my slope formula. So I start with m equals. Now in my slope formula, I'm going to look back so I can reference. I start with y2 minus y1. So y2, I look to see what I've labeled here. y2 is -2. Then immediately you're going to make sure that you still include that minus, okay? It's always a minus in between before you fill in that next value. Y1 is 3. So then that's going to be all over x2. x2 is 7. Then immediately put your minus. Then x1, which is -3. Okay, and now I just need to simplify. So I'm going to simplify straight across, okay? So -2 minus 3 is going to become -5. over 7 minus -3, so that becomes 7 plus 3, which is 10. So my slope right now is -5 over 10, but here's a really important step. You always want to make sure that you simplify your slope when you can, okay? So -5 over 10 can be simplified because 5 divides into both -5 and 10. So 5 divided by 5 is -1, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. So my slope for the line containing these 2 points is -1/2, okay? Okay, so let's do our second example. So the first thing we're going to do is label our points. You got it. So I'm going to start by labeling my first ordered pair with x1 and y1, and my second ordered pair with x2 and y2. Okay, now I'm going to substitute those values into my slope formula while I'm solving for slope. So I need m equals, of course. I'm just going to reference back to what slope formula is up here. Whoops, okay. So I have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so I'm going to start with my y2. So my y2 value is positive 1. Okay, it's right underneath what my y value is. Okay, y2 is 1. So I have 1. Then you're going to immediately put your minus, 1 minus, and then I find what y1 is. y1 is also 1. So 1 minus 1 all over x2. So my x2 value is underneath -3. Okay. Immediately put your minus, -3 minus, and then I'm going to have x1, which is 12. Okay, so now I'm going to simplify by going straight across. So 1 minus 1, that's 0, over 3 minus 12. Well, I always think minus as plus negative, so that's -3 plus -12, which would be -15. Now, I have 0 over -15, but is that simplified? And the answer is no. Whenever you have a 0 in your answer, you have to consider, is the slope going to be 0 or is the slope going to be undefined? Well, 0 over any number is 0, okay? So that means my slope is 0. Remember, slope dude says the slope of when he's going on the slope, this is 0 fun. So that means that this line must look like a horizontal line, okay? Okay, so what I'd like for you guys to do right now is I'd like for you to stop this video. So pause the video and try number 3, the third example, on your own. When you unpause the video, the example will be done for you so that you can check your answer, okay? All right, go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back. So as you can see, example number 3 is completed. So go ahead and check your work and make sure that you let Mr. Dollar know if you're really having a hard time with this. We're happy to reach out and set up a meeting to help you through any of it if you need to. We are going to do one last example together, and that's example 4. So I'm going to start by labeling my points. So we have x1, y1, x2, sorry, that was a weird 2, x2, y2. And we substitute those into slope formula. So y2, which is 7 minus y1, which is -2, over x2, which is 9, minus x1, which is 9. Simplify. 7 minus negative, I have my minus negative, so that turns into plus. So 7 plus 2 is 9, over 9 minus 9, which is 0. So when you get that 0 in your answer, you're not done. You have to simplify. Since we can never divide by a 0, this means that our slope is going to be the result of 9 over 0, which is undefined. So what kind of a line has an undefined slope? And that is our vertical line. Undefined. Okay. All right. So that concludes the instruction piece of today. So what your job is now is to spend some time doing the homework worksheet that you'll either find on ClassKick or on Schoology, it's your choice, practicing this skill. There's also answer keys on ClassKick so that you can check your answers, okay? As always, let Mr. Dollar I know if you have any questions. We are here for you. We are here to help you. We will definitely get through this together, okay? All right. Hope to see you guys soon.